FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday to all of you. And I hope you guys kicked off your work week in a very great and resounding manner. Tell you what, and my next guest, I had to just put boxing professional because he wears so many damn hats. And guys, that is the one and only, the incomparable Big Rick Glaser. Rick, how you doing, my friend?
Not bad, Joe. Thanks for having me on tonight. It's always a pleasure last week, now this week, and hopefully next week.
Oh, that sounds like a plan, brother. What a way to kick off July. That sounds like a great idea, sir. I tell you what, though, guys, we're in for a real treat because Rick, it's great. We just heard from the always candid James Gogi last night. We're always going to hear we're going to hear from Ronnie Shields tomorrow night, hopefully with a big announcement. But today, guys, you're going to get it straight. You may not agree with it. You may not like it. But that doesn't mean that it's not the truth. Guys, you're going to get it from Big Rick Glaser tonight. And we've got a great program for you. We're in for a tight 60. And we're going to go over, once again, guys, here's the format. We're going to go through the Rick Glaser Twitter watch. And we always pick out my favorite tweets. And we ask him about it, and well, he gives you a little bit more insight behind the tweet. And then we've got, his interpretation of fact or fiction. So, guys, play along with us. Let us know what you think. Before we move, first of all, Big Rick, I have to tell you, I am very, very sad, my friend. I was really looking forward to hanging with you in San Antonio and seeing how you melt in the 106-degree weather. But you're not going to be down there. Why not, brother?
Well, it was a combination. And one of the fights I made, they moved to another show. It's going to be too hot. They're short of hotel rooms. It was like about 4 or 5 things. Eric and I discussed it. Eric, the president of Golden Boy, and he just said, we just agreed that this ain't the right fit for me. Between the weather, the humidity, the heat, the humidity. I'm 65 years old. I beat cancer. I don't need it. They're short of hotel rooms. They had, if I go in there, it'll be on a Tuesday and leave Sunday. That's 5 nights, basically speaking. And that's, it takes up a lot of their, rooms that other people could use. And I have no problem with it. I'm a team player. I get it.
So wait a minute. You didn't like the idea of sharing a room with Floyd Schofield Sr.?
I didn't like it. I wouldn't have shared the room with anybody. Nothing to do with Floyd Schofield Sr. But just in general, it didn't fit for either of us. They didn't need me there. I didn't need to be there. It was one of those things. So it was good. That's all good.
Well, very good. I tell you what, you are a team player there, sir. And you, once again, you wear many hats in this business. But
Yep.
Tonight, you're going to be soothsayer, brother, in fact or fiction. And we're going to get right down to it as soon as we say hello to our very dear friends in the chat. First one in the queue. Want to welcome our brother, John McSmith. Salute Big Joe in the know. And the living legend himself, Mr. Rick Glaser. Here. There it is. My brother, Peter Von Arx. Howdy, Joseph and Rick. How are you doing, brother? And thank you for being here and supporting Big Rick on this beautiful Monday evening. And it's only 103 right now at 8:01 p.m. Central in San Antonio, Texas. I want to welcome my brother G Funky to the program. And I'm hoping that G Funky will help me host next Monday. How do you like that, Big Rick?
Not bad at all. I'll be here next Monday.
And there it is. Also want to give a big shout out to my brother Izzy Bivol, finally able to catch a live on Monday. Yes, we're happy to have you here, my friend. Thank you for being a part of the program. Oh, but you have all of your questions ready for the always candid Big Rick Glaser. Says, salute, Mr. Glaser. And, I know what you're going to say about that, brother. And Mr. Heron, a pleasure to be here. Spelt with an S, guys. Spelt with an S. Also want to give a big shout out to my brother, Low Clarity. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, brother. It's always a very happy Monday with Big Rick in the building. Also want to give a big shout out to the professional Rick Glaser has been telling us, the boxing fans, that PBC is going under, yet they just signed the biggest star in boxing for 3 fights. Rick, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Obviously, he's just jiving you. Would you like to comment on that?
I'll answer the question. They're $900 million in debt. Go to the SEC federal findings. They're $900 million in debt, PBC, and Showtime is financing it. That's all there is to it. It's not hard to explain. And if the Nimrod that asked that question doesn't get that, I feel sorry for him. Go to business school, 101. Forget the finance part. Just go to business school.
Hey, professional, is that Jesse the Body Ventura in your avatar? Looks like it. I love me some Jesse the Body Ventura. He's a great guy, and he's a little nutty, but he's a good guy, and one of my favorite old school wrestlers. Boy, his promos were off the charts. Speaking of wrestling, I love watching wrestling with my brother Bruce. Every time there's a big event that comes up, Bruce, Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Salute, Joseph and Rick. Salute to you, my friend. And guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe and support my brother Bruce. Great boxing historian. Also, please go subscribe and support my brother G Funky Boxing, one of the most unbiased and one of the most knowledgeable YouTube sites or YouTube pages devoted to boxing. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. Also, my brother Will Boxing. Woo! Thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, can't wait. Canelo versus Charlo in Texas. And it's funny that you say Texas, because there's a very realistic possibility that it could end up in the Alamo Dome in the Alamo City. How do you like that, Big Rick?
Great. It's great for the city, great for the region, great for everything. If it happens there, great. But you can do those things there because there's no state income tax in the state of Texas like there is in Nevada. So you can get the big fights there.
That's it. That's it. You got a glimpse behind the curtain, guys. Thank you, Big Rick. Appreciate it. And Miss Denise, it's been a minute. Finally caught you live, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. And Denise was one of our original extended family members back when we were at the old East Side Boxing. Thank you. We love you here, Miss Denise. Thank you so much. Will Boxing also says Virgil versus Stañones should be a throwback type of fight. What say you, Big Rick?
Absolutely. Like two guys coming guns a-blazing. It's going to be a great fight. Old school shit.
That's it. That's it. Should be a barn burner. And you're going to miss it live, Rick. Damn it. No, you could have always stayed at my house, brother. I've got 4 empty bedrooms.
Yeah, I can't do that. When you go out on somebody else's dime, you're at their mercy. Let me tell you. If I told they want to have a meeting, I said, "Where are you?" Well, I'm at Joe's house. Where's Joe? What the fuck? He flew your ass out. He was, Golden Boy doesn't have that attitude. The company doesn't have that attitude, those guys. But as a general rule, in boxing, they do.
Oh, well, brother, maybe that's the way it is in New York. But we here in Texas have a great bit of Southern hospitality, and that's no joke. That's not just a saying either, guys. And this is true, Rick.
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
So Joey Chaz, welcome to the program, sir. He says, Rick, who is paying? Canelo, Showtime, or PBC? Would you like to answer that, my friend?
Showtime.
Hell yes. Brother, promoter uses their own money for these huge contracts. No. That's not true. Aaron does use his own money. Some of them do. 100 million?
Some of them do.
100 million.
Well, that's why. Wait, hold on. That's why he's not promoting Canelo. Because he doesn't think it's worth it. Right?
There it is. Oy vey, that's all I need is the headache. But he is a gambling man. He is a gambling man, and he's never gambled on trying to, play the Canelo roulette wheel. Are you a bit surprised about that?
Not at all. He's got his own thing going. He's in his own world with his events, and he does great events overall. And he's worried about his own guys. He's going to put money into his own guys, not somebody who's going to be with him for 3 fights.
Yeah, well, You know what? And if the Haney gamble is any indication, yeah, that's true. Because he did gamble on Haney and it really didn't pay off, did it?
Well, it did and it didn't because I mean, they did 2 fights in Australia. He made money. He made money on the Lomachenko fight, but it's not worth it. You're cannibalizing too much of your organization for a guy who's going to stay with you for 3 fights. Fuck that.
Yeah, and a guy who can't sell tickets either.
No, it's exactly right.
So we want to welcome our brother Juice. Salute, Mr. Aaron, Rick, and the
How you
wonderful
doing?
Warwick Radio family. Thank you, brother. And you are a big part of that, Juice. Thank you, man. #1 hub for all things boxing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for being a big part of that, Juice. We really appreciate you being here. Also, my brother Punchy, Big Rick, Sweet Amber. Salute. Can it get any better than that, guys? Can it get any better than that? Also, my brother Outlaw, thank you for being here, my friend. He says, Rick and Joe, salute to you, my brother. God bless you, my friend. Joey Chaz once again. It's weird how PBC has given a Mexican the biggest deal in boxing and not a brother. Rick, would you like to respond to that, sir?
Yeah, I mean that's he's got the fan base. What fighter does he have that has that kind of fan base? He doesn't have one.
Thank you for saying that, and I didn't have to. Thank you.
It's not a brother Mexican thing. It's who's the draw. I mean, everybody says that Tank's the face of what's his name, boxing, and he probably made $5 million for the Ryan Garcia fight. This guy's probably going to make 40 or 50 for his next fight. Well, it's a minimum of 33 million. So he's over 3. He's 4 times bigger than Tank. Figure that out.
I have to tell you, man, and thank you for saying this. See, I don't have to say any of this, guys. I love hosting Big Rick on his show because I can just sit back and drink a nice Lynchburg lemonade and just let Rick go. It's such a joy for me. So Izzy, he says this, and thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says, my apologies for the misspelling of Mr. Glaser's name. I'm in the gym working out. Very good, my man. Keep doing it. And the spell check got me. No disrespect intended, sir.
No problem. I've been called worse.
You know what, brother? I've been called worse as well. In fact, I was called a racist this past Saturday on Boxing Gem show. I was his special guest on Boxing Gems. Ryan does a very, very good channel on film study, and he was having a watch along, right? Yeah, and someone said I was racist because I told them I don't see color. Apparently, for the racially sensitive, that's a racially triggering remark. Do you hear it that you perceive it that way, Rick?
Anybody would think that's a fucking jerk off.
Either that or just lost an argument or didn't like what I was saying. Thank you, Issy. I appreciate you being here, brother. And you know what? Just says a lot for our extended family, Rick. We always show you the respect you deserve, and we always roll out the red carpet for you, my friend, every single time you're here.
Thank you.
My brother here to there. Cheers, Rick, from across the pond. Cheers, Rick. Joseph, we, as boxing fans, should be thankful. Espinosa finally had enough and is forcing PBC to step up. And what would I do to hear the Bob Father's thoughts on Berlanga this weekend?
No, whoever's saying that right now, that is person here to there. What happened was the people above Espinosa from Paramount Global put the pressure on Espinosa, and then Espinosa put the pressure on fucking Heyman and said, "Hey, my bosses are all over me. The new bosses are all over me. We need to do this, okay? Because his deal's coming due, for renewal." And he has no Fox, so he's leveraged out. They got between a rock and a hard place. They know he's $900 million in debt, so it's just the way it is, no question. So listen to this. I'm going to tell you guys a funny one that happened today. Ready? A guy hits me up and says to me, he goes to my website, gets my phone number, and he texts me, and he says, "You keep talking about this SEC federal filings." He says, "What does the Southeast Conference have to do with PBC?" Hello?
I'm right here, my friend.
I says, "Jerk off. It's the Securities and Exchange Commission, you fucking jerk off."
Dude, you're way too candid, brother. Tell us how you really feel, my friend. But I tell you what.
People are so stupid. I mean, really.
Oh, Chingo. And my brother, Montequilla, former prize fighter. Oh, hey, man, you were in the slide. I inserted a photo from about 10 years ago when I was actually interviewing you before a fight.
That's the Adam Lopez from Texas, not the one from California, right?
No, that's not Blue Nose. This is Montequilla.
Right. This is the one from Texas. Right. I know who this one is. I tried to put him in a fight, about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, didn't work out though, did it?
No.
But I tell you what, man, he was a lot of fun to watch fight. Boy, Adam could crack. And if you were an assertive fighter, and if you came right at him, well, he was going to make you pay for it.
Yeah.
We love Montequilla on this show. But guys, let's get right down to it. Let's get to the big Rick Twitter watch. Here we go, sir. Number one, this was a tweet on June 25th, just yesterday, right? At 12:32 p.m. This is what Rick had to say on Twitter. He said, quote, "I'm about what's best for boxing, and boxing enthusiasts on social media are envisioning Munguia versus Berlanga. Great fight, two aggressive guys, and neither have any defense. Hope it gets made, but a tough fight financially to make happen right now. Let's see what becomes of it." Rick?
Yeah,
what do you think?
It's not gonna. It doesn't look like it's gonna happen. It's too. Berlanga's side's gonna price themselves out. They're gonna want too much money. That's all there is to it. Money, it's not printable. I foresee that. That's already what's happened, really.
Brother, why on earth would Team Berlanga genuinely believe? Are they drinking some of that Dillian Whyte water or something? Is that what they're drinking? Why on earth would they believe that they're worth that much, or would they just merely be pricing themselves out?
Well, they still think after Canelo fights his 3 fights at PBC, he'll be free, or he'll get him down the road eventually, and it's too risky of a fight, for the kind of money they'll get offered for a fight like that. They'll wait for Canelo, and they'll take some fights that they're supposed to win and go on, just like they took the other night. So, and just keep move kicking the can down the road and keep the train moving.
Well, I tell you what, guys, if you're interested to hear what Rick Glaser has to say about the 3-fight deal with PBC, well, that's coming up, guys. That's coming up on Fact or Fiction. But Montequilla says, I think it was Chris Avalos. Was that the fight that he turned down?
Yes.
Yes, it was. You've got a very good memory, Adam. Thank you, brother, for being here.
Yep.
Dillian Whitewater, and that's coming up on Fact or Fiction as well, brother. And Peter Von Arx, our brother, says Berlanga needs more practice. You don't say. That's coming up in the big Twitter watch as well. Guys, let's move to the next one. This is going to combine Fact or Fiction, right? So I have to ask you this, right? And it coincides with our first Fact or Fiction prediction, right? Lot of questionable refereeing. Now, once again, this was on July 29th, right after the fights, right? This is what you had to say on Twitter. Quote, a lot of questionable refereeing and judging in PBC fights. Now, first of all, I'm going to give you the opportunity to clear the air. Did you mean PBC specifically, or did you mean just fights in general? Or are you singling out PBC here?
PBC.
Very good. Here we go. Let's move forward.
everybody in the business talks about it all the time. They can't get every fucking show. They got a referee controversy, a judging every single show. Look at the Rolly thing a couple weeks ago with Tony Weeks. Every time.
Well,
Every time there's a PBC, and it never favors the B side fighter, always the A side. That's all you need to know.
Well, no, there's a little bit more than that, Rick, in my opinion now. But once again, no one cares about my opinion tonight. This is the Rick Glaser show.
No, I care about your opinion.
We're here for
you. I care
you.
about your opinion. No, I care about your opinion.
Well, you'll hear it in this first Fact or Fiction, right?
The next time I go to San Antonio, I'm going to care about your opinion. I'm going to ask you, what's the best barbecue joint in town, and then your opinion will matter. Until then, stick it in your back pocket. I'm kidding you, Joe. Fire away, Joe. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, here it goes. No. I need to finish reading the tweet. A lot of questionable refereeing and judging in PBC fights, as Stephen Breadman Edwards pointed out on Showtime Saturday night, and those bad calls and bad decisions always favor the house fighter, which leaves us to the big question: can the purported B side, Terrence Crawford, get a fair shake from the ref and the judges versus Errol the Truth Spence? Tim Bradley has already publicly questioned this and has cast his doubt. Great question, and your thoughts on this? Question mark. End quote.
Yep.
Well, guys, and to clarify and to add more insights into what Rick was alluding to on his tweets, I'm going to read you Tim Bradley's quotes, right? And this is when his interview with Max Kellerman, right? And this is what Max asked Tim. He said, Tim, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence compete in your old division. One of your divisions, anyway. They're finally going to fight on July 29th. Who wins and how? And Tim Bradley said this. Oh, man, that's a great question. They're fighting, Max. That's how you're going to know who's going to win the fight. They're fighting. But I have some concerns. I really do. And the first thing that came to mind was, can Crawford win a decision in Vegas? You have to understand this. Look at the history of Crawford and the way he starts fights. He's a bit of a slow starter. And you think about the way Spence starts fights. He's quick. He's quick out of the gate. He's consistent with his offense, and going down the stretch, if he gets behind on the scorecards, Crawford, he's going to need a knockout to win in Vegas. End quote. Now, once again, does that have anything to do with Vegas, Rick? Or does that have everything to do with how you score prize fights?
It's got a lot to do with Vegas. The judges there have a history of going for the bigger money side, the A side of the equation. It happened with Hagler, Leonard. Leonard was the star and the big money, and it just happens consistently over the years. This is how they judge fights. Okay, I mean, Tim Bradley got a decision against Pacquiao. That was by accident. Believe that. That was just one of those freak things. But 99% of the fights go towards the A side fighter, whether the referee stops it, whether the scoring's bad. The only time they made a mistake in the last bunch of years favoring the B side was when Tim Bradley beat Pacquiao. And that was a long time ago now.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually scored that fight, and I was there ringside. And if you look on BoxRec, guys, anyone who doesn't, and I get a lot of bullshit from a lot of fanboys on YouTube who don't think that I've been in this business for a considerable amount of time. But guys, if you go and look on BoxRec under Bradley Pacquiao 1, go look up that fight on BoxRec. They will show you how I scored the fight ringside. And I scored it 9-3 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. And there it is. And I was credentialed on behalf of FightSaga.com back in the day. Gosh, that seems like eons ago, Rick. But this is how it coincides with Fact or Fiction number 1. And let me see, number 7, right? We're going to combine these. So here's number 1, Big Rick. Number 1, Fact or Fiction, senor. 2 controversial stoppages in the main and co-main events in Minneapolis, Minnesota were a product of last year's tragedy at the Armory, Morrell versus Yerbossanuly in December, and not favoring the A side. Fact or fiction, sir?
Fiction.
Yeah. Woo! So once again, who was the ref that night? Do you remember when poor Idos Yerbossanuly, the poor Ukrainian, had a blame read? That was Tony Weeks. That was Tony Weeks.
Okay.
I'm truly convinced, Rick. And once again, this is just, guys, keep in mind, this is just my opinion, right? It's just my opinion. And once again, I'm not trying to argue with Rick. I wouldn't do that on his show. I'm just saying, I don't think it's any coincidence that Tony Weeks pulled the trigger prematurely in the Rolly Romero Ismael Barroso fight, right? I think that's a indirect byproduct of the Dave Morrell Yerbossanuly, in which he allowed that fight to continue a lot longer than it should have. That's my opinion.
And the commissioners have let him referee a lot longer than they should have. He should fucking be gone, though.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Big Rick. Look, if you can't do your job at the highest level any longer, then you need to do what Robert Byrd did and step away. You need to step away from all these.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
Yes, sir.
A true story. So, when I was a kid, I used to wholesale cars long before I was in the boxing business. Starting when I was 17 years old, up until I don't know, I was 30 years old. So, a couple of the car guys, the managers were going through divorces and stuff like that, and I never paid the managers off to sell me cars on, paid them off under the table to sell me cars. But I used to get them an occasional hooker, and I used to use the same broad. And I don't know, about maybe I was about 35 years old. I ran into her. So this is long after I was out of the car business. I ran into her at the mall by accident. And she says to me, I said to her, "Hey, how you doing?" She goes, "Oh, how you?" I said, "How you been?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Are you still?" "Oh, no," she says. "No, my time has come and gone in that business. I'm old now." She was smart enough to get out. Okay, she knew she was yesterday's news. Tony Weeks hasn't figured this out yet. The commissioners haven't figured this out yet. Come on.
Well, look, apparently it's not just the fighters who don't know when to say when.
Right, exactly.
So you look at Kenny Bayless, he's got the same problem because he really laid an egg and almost ruined the Caleb Plant David Benavidez fight, right?
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying these guys.
Look what he did with the Mayweather and John Gotti the third exhibition in Florida.
Got that.
Jesus Christ. Caused a fucking riot.
That was Kenny Bayless, wasn't it?
Yep.
Oh, Chin got that, man. Also, we want to welcome our brother Eliezer Feliciano. Salute Joe and Big Rick. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for being here and supporting Big Rick on this beautiful evening. Now we go to the next fact or fiction that has everything to do with your last tweet, my friend.
Oh, boy.
And here we go to number 7. Here it is, fact or fiction. I gave this to you last week. This is the same exact one. And you told me I was absurd. And now that Tim Bradley says something, you actually are thinking about it now. Here it is, number 7. Errol Spence Jr. will win a very unpopular decision against Crawford, and the fight will play out almost identically to Haney Loma as usual.
No.
Hold on. Not finished. Oh. As usual, the fans who didn't purchase the pay-per-view will cry robbery and corruption, just like Teddy Atlas. Back to fiction, brother.
Oh, fiction. Let me tell you, there's something very unique about that fight, and this is what it is. Earl does start fast normally, and yes, Crawford does start slow. But here's the problem for Spence this time around. he's going to be fearful because what's his name's a sharpshooter, Crawford. He switches. He's very fast of hand and foot, and very nimble and much more nimble and agile. And he's going to be very leery of walking in on Crawford. Very leery. That's good. They're going to be playing cat and mouse for a couple rounds there.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, it's not going to just walk across the ring like he does these normal PBC opponent types. This is different.
You know what? You may be right, sir. I envision a chess match as well. And that's why I made that fact or fiction. I see it playing out almost identically to Henry Lomachenko with Crawford doing the most damage and playing the role of Lomachenko that night. What say you?
Yeah, that's a good possibility. He's got more ways to win. He's got more in the car. He switch hits. He's just as powerful right-handed as he's left-handed.
Indeed.
I mean, he's a real fighter. You know, He's got killer instinct. He gets you in trouble and he finishes. I mean, he's every single welterweight fight he's had has been a knockout.
Yep, that is correct. That is correct. Yep. And you know what? He is one of the best fighters of this generation, of this era.
Yep. And he's a great finisher. I mean, he's got Sugar Ray Leonard. He's got Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran mentality when it comes to finishing.
Yep, indeed. And he's that kind of competitor. He is. He's an all-time great, guys. He's an all-time great, and he's a first bout Hall of Famer. And I know you're going to vote for him when he's up for the ballot.
Absolutely.
And there it is. We want to welcome Tony Boswell to the show. Much respect at World Week Radio and Rick Glaser. Also, the chat stopped in to show the support. Hit the like button, guys. Yes, please. Hit the like button, gents. Just got in from work. Salute. Thank you for joining us this evening, sir. And, well, here's a big question for you, Big Rick. Our brother Bruce says, Rick, who are the good referees today? Can Rick name three?
Yeah, I can name four. I can name three. Here's Mike Griffin from Montreal. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thomas Taylor from California and Jack Reeves from California. Those are by far the three best referees in North America.
That's impossible to refute, Big Rick. Yep. They are three of the very best. You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Solid. That's a solid three. That is and you're not going to hear a complaint.
And Frank Garza from Detroit would be in there, but he's like semi-retired now. He's doing more seminars for the WBC now and teaching the referees. But he also is one of the great referees too. Frank Garza.
You know what? From Detroit. And the fact that he's giving back to the sport, it says it all, doesn't it? That says it all.
Yep, he would be in there as a top four if he was really refereeing now, but now he's more being a teacher to proteges now and stuff, and much respect to him, and I'm glad I can get his name in there because not only is he a great referee, he's a classy guy.
There it is, as you are as well, Brother Rick. Thank you so much for mentioning that, sir. Yes, and look, I love it when I see former professionals give back to the young professionals in this business. It's sorely needed. It's sorely needed, guys, especially when it comes to training young fighters. Yep. Also a question, Big Rick, from our brother from Florida, Tony Manzano, says, in your opinion, Rick, who is the most consistent judge in boxing where there hasn't been any issue with fighters complaining of an inconsistent scorecard? I don't think that's a possibility of a fighter not complaining about a scorecard.
Yeah.
In his mind, he always wins. Yeah. Right? But in your mind, though, let's go to the first part of the question. Who's the most consistent in your mind?
Probably Steve Weisfeld.
I would agree with that 100%. I had his name in my brain as well.
Probably Steve Weisfeld. Yeah, he's from New Jersey.
Yep.
I would say Steve Weisfeld. I can't think of who else would be in that category. I know one more. The guy's from my hometown, right here. Malinsky. Oh God, his name is Merlinski. Oh God, I got brain fade right now, but his name's Merlinski. He does a lot of fights in New York City, and he's very good too. He's very consistent and very good too. And
There it is.
so is Don Ackerman. So is Don Ackerman. Yeah, Don Ackerman.
Ackerman. Oh my gosh, man. When's the last time he's been a part of a big event though?
Oh, he does these fights in New York City all the time. Oh yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
big fights in New York City all the time. Yeah, he's
Well,
good.
It really sucks though that most big events don't go to New York any longer because of the tax, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. Damn shame. Damn shame. It was always it was always synonymous in the past, right? Big fights, New York City, the Big Apple. That was always synonymous with American boxing, and we just don't see it any longer. That's a damn shame. It's almost un-American, Big Rick.
Well, it is what it is. New York State sucks. I live here. I know.
Tell us how you really feel, my friend. Also, Bunchy,
New York State sucks. I live here. I know.
Yeah, well, you voted for him, brother. You voted for him. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I didn't vote for you.
Of course you didn't, brother. You're well, I'm not going to say anything about politics right now.
I'm a Republican.
Okay, well then, yes, I'll say I'm an independent, but I'm conservative, so I lean towards the right. Yes, so we're like-minded in that sense. Boxing analyst says, "Welcome to the show, sir." Says, why does Ryan Garcia have a PBC guy in Valencia as an advisor when he's a Golden Boy fighter?
Because he doesn't know any better. He's hoodwinked, and now Golden Boy has sued them collectively, and they're going after Lupe. They're not really going after Ryan. They're going after Lupe.
Valencia. Yep.
Well, his real name is Guadalupe.
Guadalupe. Yep. That's it. Yep. And there it is. Khalid, welcome to the program, sir. Salute to War Week Radio. July is a big month for boxing. Yes, it is, sir. Week after week after week. PBC just giving us the best fights. Yeah, it's impossible to refute right now, Big Rick.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. But Heyman shoved all this garbage up our ass for so long on pay-per-view, and they weren't doing any buys. And so the goal, when Paramount Global took over the reins of Showtime, they said, no. This is what's going to happen, and there won't be any boxing. So now he's fucked. He can't go lean on Fox and leverage anything because he doesn't have a Fox deal anymore. So now he's screwed.
Well, I tell you what, as long as the fans benefit, I really couldn't care less. But I tell you what, guys, we're running out of time, so let's jump to fact or fiction. Or would you like me to read one more Twitter watch? Right? Let's do one more. Let's do one more, right? Let's do this one, right? You said this on June 22nd, right? 4 days ago. You said Steve Kim has a great point. There's so many known liars involved in this mess. Who's telling the truth is the $10 million question. It's a hot mess, and some of the usual suspects are involved as liars abound in this ongoing saga between David Morrell and David Benavidez. And Steve Kim said this, quote, I don't even know what or who to believe in this Benavidez versus Morrell saga. Did you notice I even included the list? And there it is. End quote. So please explain all of this. Once again, it should make a lot of sense to everyone now, right?
Truthfully, I'm not going to. Here's why. Because it's showing itself. You've got so many known liars involved with that whole mess. It would take a whole evening to unravel that fucking mess. And it's too much. It's too much. Seriously.
Well, let's move on then, my brother, because our time, we're on borrowed time here, brother.
Right. It's just
let's move on.
That is a mess.
Then let's move on. We've got 23 minutes left with the Big Rick. So let's move on to Fact or Fiction, sir. Number 2, Jermall Charlo. Fact or Fiction now, Big Rick. Jermall Charlo will suffer an injury during training, and Canelo will eventually face Boo Boo Andrade on September 16th instead.
Nah, he's not. No. I mean, he might do an injury because he's been out for over 2 years, and he might get injured because that happens a lot when a person's out for extended period of time like that. So he might get injured, but he's not fighting Boo Boo because the styles are two. One is a right-hander he's fighting, and then they're going to put a left-hander in. Not happening.
Well, let me ask you this, Big Rick. Because you're a man of the world, brother. After Charlo getting taken to the cleaners in his recent divorce, even with an injury, do you see him stepping out of this big payday and career high purse?
I don't know. I can't talk about that professionally because I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know how he is. I don't know if his brother would lend him the money to get this thing to hold off. If he is injured for another day and lend him the money, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. But all I do know is that you are prone to injury when you've been out that long. Number one, okay, and number two is he's not going to go jump to Andrade because he's left-handed.
And there it is. Now, once again, Rick, you're a matchmaker, brother. Now, what do you say about guys who are movers and as well as southpaws?
I don't want. What would I want to put them in the ring for? They don't make good fights.
We love you on the show, Big Rick. Number 3, Errol Spence Jr. will be the biggest money fight of the 3 suggested PBC matchups contracted opposite Canelo Alvarez. Fact or fiction?
I don't understand the question. Do that over again.
Let's do it. Number 3, fact or fiction? Errol Spence Jr. will be the biggest money fight of the 3 contracted BBC fights opposite Canelo Alvarez. Fact or fiction?
No.
What's a bigger money fight than that, Big Rick?
Well, I don't think he gets. You're asking me a question that I don't think the fight will happen because I don't think he gets past Crawford.
Well, win or lose, I think he gets the fight with Canelo. Are you saying that Errol Spence will get knocked out?
Good chance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there it is. Let's move to number 4, gents. Oscar De La Hoya will never allow Jaime Munguia to face David Benavidez unless it's his final fight on the GBB contract, or if he truly believes he's plateaued as an attraction. Fact or fiction? Big
no.
Rick?
He'll put Munguia in because Munguia is the type of guy. He could be in a fight, and if he's going to lose, it's going to be sensational. So it's not going to hurt his marketability, like what happened with Ryan Garcia. It's not going to hurt. It's going to, maybe one tune-up fight back, and then back in action or something like that. But you got a situation where Arturo Gatti, it wasn't about winning and losing. You just got given 1,000% of yourself. And that's what Munguia will do. Even if he loses to David Benavidez, it will be a great fight. And people want to see people want to see Munguia fight again, even if he didn't win.
Just like Arturo Gatti, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's it, guys. Once again, this is
let me ask you a question.
Right?
He just fought Dovinchenko. That was sensational.
Outstanding fight of the year candidate.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And there it is. And even though there were a lot of people who thought that he should have lost that fight.
He saved himself in the 12th round.
I agree. I scored it 114-113, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah. For what? Munguia, right?
Yep. Yeah, I scored it for Munguia. Yep. I had it even. Munguia was down by 1 going into the last round, scored the knockdown, got the win in the round, and he won by 1.2. That's correct. Rick, can you think of an unluckier fighter than Sergey Derevyanchenko in his biggest fights to date? Right?
Probably.
Listen.
What? Somebody else asked me that question. I'll tell you another unlucky bastard. Okay. Not as unlucky as Dovinchenko, but bigger fights. Mm-hmm. Razor Ruddock.
Oh boy. Oh, Donovan Razor Ruddock. Oh boy. You know what?
right?
Everyone thought that his fight with Lennox Lewis was going to be balls to the wall because he went life or death
Right,
with Mike Tyson,
right,
and
and
then
he
he
blew him
just got
out.
his ass smoked.
Two
Yeah.
rounds.
Yep.
It was Halloween 1992. Got blown
Yep.
right out.
That's it.
Blown out.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez. Yep.
he was unlucky, and what's his name was unlucky too. Yaki Lopez.
Oh, Yankee Lopez. Oh boy. Tell you what,
Yaki Lopez.
you could also add Obakar and David Tua to that
No,
list.
no, no. Obakar wasn't unlucky. He just fought great fighters, and he never got over the hump. He wasn't really unlucky. And David Tua, not really. He didn't beat Lennox Lewis. He didn't give 1,000% of himself that night. He was scared to get hit.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, I tell you what, we want to thank Tony Boswell for dropping the $10 super chat and asking a very, very insightful question. He says, well, thank you, Tony, once again for being here and supporting Big Rick on this Monday evening. He says, Rick, I have a question for you. Is Cinco de Mayo a good day to promote a fight? A lot of people have debated me that it isn't, that Mexican Independence Day is more popular in the sport of boxing. True or false?
I I don't know because I'm not in the culture, but I would say anything to do with where you have a weekend that's honors the Mexican culture would be a great fight weekend for Mexican people. So I would say it would be a very good weekend.
Well, look, Tony. Look. I know I sound like Wonder Bread when I speak, but hey, brother, puro mexicano, right? And I will tell you that Mexican independence is the more important holiday, but Cinco de Mayo is the more fun holiday because
Right.
of the season that it falls in. If that makes any sense, it's right next to Fiesta, brother. If you're in Texas, hell yes, Cinco de Mayo is all the rage, brother. And you know what? And that's when people love to drink. It's starting to get nice and sunny. You're getting clear of all the rain. See, in Mexican Independence weekend, it's starting to get very cold. It's starting to get kind of rainy, and you're starting to get different weather, right? And it always has to do with weather, my friend. And that's it. But Rick, you know what, brother? They're both very, very important weekends in boxing, aren't
Yeah. Yep. Very much so.
they? And there it is. There it is. That's why Floyd Mayweather dubbed himself as, hey, man, you might want to call me Cinco de Mayweather. Chingate. So let's move on. Fact or fiction number 5. Big Rick. Deontay Wilder will get KO'd by Big Snickers Andy Ruiz Jr. later this year. Fact or fiction?
I don't think so. I think Andy Ruiz will be worried about getting hit. He won't unload his shit as much, and he'll stand around and take more punishment. He'll take punishment and stuff. No, I'm not a Wilder believer, but he'll have enough. He's tall enough, punching down. He'll be able to keep him off of him.
Yep. That big right hand is a serious thing, and it's a real thing, isn't it, Big Rick?
Yep. Oh yeah. There's no question.
Deontay Wilder's power. Well, let's move on to number 6. We have about 10 minutes left, and about 15 minutes left, and we still have about 5 more prognostications to go. So let's move this along. Dillian Whyte possesses a more unrealistic and inflated sense of worth than both Dmitry Bivol and Edgar Berlanga combined. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, pretty much so. Eddie offered him $5 million, and he wants $10 million. So yeah, I would say he does. Yes.
Not only that, Big Rick, I need to get your opinion on this. He actually stated that, I don't know why they're getting me with rematch clauses and things of that nature. I want a simple contract because after I beat Anthony Joshua, I want to fight Deontay Wilder in Saudi Arabia. What planet is he living in? Does he really believe that Saudi Arabia is interested in him?
No, they might be if he beat Joshua, but don't get me wrong about that. But he won't get the fight unless he's taking 5 million, because it's all, and he put his best foot forward. I mean, he didn't come in with 2 million. He told him 5 million. Now the guy wants more. If he would have told him 2 million, he might have taken 5. This putz.
There it is. There it is. Number 7. Big Rick, fact or fiction? Oh, well, we already did that. Spence will win a very unpopular. Yeah, we already did that. Number 8,
Right.
Big Rick. There's no way on God's green earth that DAZN will spend the kind of money it would take to get Triple G out of retirement to face Edgar Berlanga. Fact
No.
or fiction, sir?
No, fiction. They're not going to do that. No.
So what's
Nope.
next then for Edgar Berlanga, sir?
And probably just a regular fight, I would assume.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's go up to your Twitter watch, brother. Yeah. So this is funny, guys. Let's go to this. You gave this tweet on July or June 25th, right? You said this: the DAZN commentators were a little misleading in Berlanga Quigley. Berlanga was winning the fight all along, but the commentators made it sound like it was anyone's fight when it clearly wasn't. Also, I like the commentators individually, but as a team, they definitely don't work well together. End quote. Your thoughts, brother? In my opinion, Big Rick, before you answer, I think DAZN would be much better off with, well, in place of Todd Grisham, you interject Joseph Herron. And instead of, well, my brother Sergio Mora, you interject, well, my brother James Gogi. And instead of Chris Mannix, let's interject some Rick Glaser. What say you, my friend?
Listen, individually, they're not bad announcers. Together, they suck. There's no cohesion. There's no camaraderie. There's no formality. They're just they say the wackiest shit. I mean, it's terrible, terrible. But they're not bad announcers. They just suck together.
Yeah, they're all good guys. Yeah, that's the worst part about it. They're all great guys. I love me some Sergio Mora. I used to work with him in the past. Excuse me. But yeah, with Chris Mannix and Todd Grisham, yeah, no chemistry. No chemistry. Excuse me, guys. That shot just went through the wrong tube. My apologies. Number 9. Roberto Diaz is correct when he states Jermall Charlo will prove to be Canelo Alvarez's toughest fight. Fact or fiction, sir?
I could see that. Yes, I could see that because he's got the tools, he's got his skill, he's got the size, he's strong, he's got good balance. I could see that. But the edge to Canelo here is he's been so inactive. And when you're inactive like that, you can't take a shot like you did before without a couple tune-up bouts. You know, he hasn't been hit with that shock treatment, and those punches will come in and will be shocked to him. And I think that'll be his downfall in the fight.
You know what, brother? Do you think that's why handicappers have listed the opening betting odds as now, once again, most fans can't believe this. They think there must be a mistake somewhere. But the opening betting line is a minus 240 for Canelo Alvarez and a plus 180 for Jermall Charlo. He's a very live betting dog.
Yeah, he is, but I just don't see him winning. It's just Canelo's got too many advantages. Experience in big fights is one.
Yes, sir.
You know, better body puncher, a proven guy. You know, big fight after big fight. I mean, listen, he didn't beat Bivol, but imagine what Bivol would do to fucking Charlo. You know, so.
Yep. And there it is. Hold on real quick. Here to there, my brother from across the pond. He says, I have to say, Mr. Aaron, you, Rick, and the coach would make even the worst fights entertaining. Thank you, brother. That is so cool of you. And yes, I would have to agree with you, my friend. Joey Chaz says 99% of DAZN announcers give the other 1% a bad name. And also, welcome to the party, sir. Jesus M. Saludos. Saludos to you, brother. And thank you for being a part of Big Rick Glaser. Well, Real Talk with Rick Glaser. Are you a bit surprised that Roberto Diaz ended up with Matchroom Sport?
He's not working there.
Wasn't he matchmaker in this last event?
No.
With Kevin Rooney Jr.?
No. He put with who? Berlanga?
Yep.
No, he put the opponent in. That was his guy. He worked for Sheer Sports.
Oh, got you, brother. Got you. That makes sense.
Believe me, if Roberto Diaz was hired, there'd been a press release out about it. Come on.
Okay, you're right. You're right, Big Rick. Okay,
so
number 10.
If I, after 32 years in boxing, be independent, if I was going to take a full-time job, shit, I took an account on Frank Warner, and they put fucking it was front page news everywhere, and I must have done 40 interviews.
I love it. I love it. We've got about 2 minutes left, Big Rick. Let's start to squeeze this one in. Number 10, final Fact or Fiction with Big Rick Glaser. Number 10, Fact or Fiction. Tyson Fury's next opponent will be the gentleman who just mowed my grass yesterday. Fact or fiction, sir?
I don't know. It's a hard question, but it won't be the guy that mowed your grass, but it's not going to be a guy that everybody wants him to fight.
Who do you think? Well, if you had to guess, put your matchmaking cap on. Who would you say it would be? I was hoping it would be Filip Ergovic, but Ronnie Shield just told me that that's not possible.
Yeah, that won't happen. No, because he's with Eddie Hearn and he's with Eddie Hearn. No, is he with Hearn? No, I think he's maybe just with Wasserman. I don't know if he's still with Hearn or not, but that don't look promising to me. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's an enigma. Who knows?
Yep.
The guy will probably be one of those cage fighters. Who knows what this guy is. Put it this way, Frank Warren and right now Frank Warren and Bob Arum, his co-promoters, his two promoters, don't know who he's fighting. How are we going to know?
That's right. That's right. Guys, with 1 minute left. Well, congratulations, Rick. You made it through Fact or Fiction once again, sir. Do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, sir?
You want to follow me on Twitter? It's Real Rick Glaser 1. And I'm verified account with the blue check. There's a lot of fake Rick Glaser accounts out there. Be careful. I've got I don't know, 6,900 followers. The other ones don't have many followers, the fake accounts. So just pay attention. And other than that, nothing else. I'm looking forward to next Monday night, and we'll do our thing again, Joe, and everybody will be happy.
Rick, I know the old saying is keep them wanting more, leave them wanting more, right? But we need to start extending this to a little bit more time, because it almost seems like 60 minutes just flew by, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but I've got 10 calls now to return.
And there it is. That's why we limited this show. That's right.
Yeah,
reminded me of that. That's right.
I got about 10 calls to return. I might have 10 or 15 emails.
And there it is. And there it is, guys. Rick is a busy man. We want to thank him for devoting his time to you guys for the past 60 minutes. So on behalf of the Big Rick Glaser, I'm Joseph Aaron. You've been listening to War Week Radio. Have a great Monday evening, everybody.
I wanna get
FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick Glaser.